Hey everybody, welcome to Saturday morning training. We are getting settled here in the living room, so give us just another minute before we're going to get started. I'm excited about today. It's going to be a very casual, very loose training today. We have definite topics that we're going to cover, but we're going to just basically speak from the heart, and we're going to draw from these ladies' experience. 4 years, Allison, this month?
Yes.
And three and a half for Christy. So you guys have a decade of experience and knowledge at your disposal today. So if you guys have any questions out there online, you can text me those questions, and we will do our best to cover those. My cell phone number is 615-971-4130. And if someone out there will send me a text and let me know if you can hear and see us okay, then as soon as I get that text that everything's coming across okay, we'll get started. All right. Do you want to sit? You do? You want to take this chair?
I can.
And Christy, do you want to sit here? We can move the camera. We probably need to move it back. Summer, do you care to slide that camera back, please? TJ didn't know that we were going to have kind of this format a little bit further. Forward. Stop. And then can you tilt it down just a little bit? I think that's good. You think that's good? You think that's low enough?
Can I stay off camera just for like 10 minutes to do this?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I think I'm probably going to, I'm probably going to stand.
Okay.
So, let's stop that. Yeah, I'll probably stand the whole time. Hey, we've got extra chairs. We've got an extra one right there. Now, I mean, you're welcome to sit in that chair, but I can't imagine that a bar stool for 2 hours would be kind of open. You want to scoot over Maybe in the center. You can sit there if you want.
Well, that's right.
Okay.
Allison may not want to sit in the center.
Allison may like front and center. Okay, well, no one sent me a text.
No, I'm good.
So, let's hope that everybody can hear us out there in the world. It looks like everything's working. Doesn't it look like everything's working?
Yeah.
The green lights are going. It doesn't say stop broadcast.
You can ask one of those Carrie people. Weller.
Yeah, well,
Carrie Weller.
I was going to say, Carrie Weller, I'm so disappointed in you. Send me a text.
Are you telling them to call in? They got them right now?
Of course, some of the usual suspects, usual suspects are in the room, but...
Well, usually I say that and I have 5 people who are like...
Well, I just texted Joel to see if he's on.
He's on. Every time.
All right, can you hide that?
He said
now?
yes, and it looks like we're doing musical chairs.
Yes, very good. Awesome. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so today's training is I have my list. Now what? Some of you might be surging. Some of you might not be surging. Whether you are or aren't, I know you are. It is definitely okay. Thank you, Sandy, for that. Because here's my deal with the surge. The surge is not doing anything different than what we teach to grow your AdvoCare business. You're doing the exact same thing in the surge as we have done from day one of building our business. You're just doing it at a higher level of intensity. So if you're not a part of the surge, these are still things that you need to be doing if you want to grow your business, which obviously if you're online, if you're in my living room, you want to grow your business. So I have my list. What do I do now? The list, you guys, should be the easiest thing that you do. It is pen to paper, however you do it. I'm sure some of you do it in your computer, on your phone. Choose a system that works for you and stick with it is my advice. I just got a planner. I love it. I've never been able to use a planner in my whole entire life, but for some reason it works for this. Thank you, Kim. I hope you're feeling good. Okay, awesome. Sorry. I'm getting a little distracted. So make your list. That should be the easiest thing that you do. You need to make a list of people who you think maybe you want to lose weight. You want to make a list of people who are already super fit and you know that they already use nutritional supplements. Obviously, they want to use the ones that are better. You want to make a list of people who you think want to earn extra income. Maybe they have, a mission trip that they're trying to fund. Maybe they have an extra job that they want, a spouse to get out of. AdvoCare is a Plan B income, and so don't think that you just have to be thinking of people who hate their job and want out of their job, because that's not what AdvoCare is designed to be. It's designed to grow as a Plan B until it can become your Plan A if you desire that. Some people just want a Plan B for the rest of their life, and that's okay. So, all right, make your list. It's not hard. Get it done. Stop putting it off. Stop procrastinating. Just do it. See, Katie even agrees with me. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do, and we are like a broken record on this aspect of training, and I get that, but that's how important it is you have to package your story. If you do not have a packaged and practiced story, then your efficiency level and your effectiveness in getting your message across is going to be drastically diminished because you're going to talk too much, you're going to say things that are confusing, or you're going to be nervous. If you're nervous about talking to somebody, then it probably means that you're not confident in your message. You get confident in your message by packaging your story. And we go over these 4 points all the time.
And doing it over and over again, too. Like, the first few times, you're still, even if you've practiced it, it's the difference between rehearsal versus, like, actually being on stage.
That's a great way to put it.
You're still going to be nervous, but you're going to get better. I mean, you think about Broadway actors. I'm sure they're also get a little nervous before shows, but the more times they've been on stage, the more they know, I've got this, I've done it, I've perfected it. There's still going to be nerves because you are sharing something with somebody else.
Sure.
But
it's going to be that
you're gonna
nervous
confidence.
energy, though, not the nervous, I can't move.
Yes. And with that, like, I know they say 30-second story and 2-minute story. You hear both of those. For initially, I would really focus on a 30-second story.
Good.
First of all, that's only 30 seconds you have to feel instead of 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Second of all, most of the time it's going to be in conversation with people, and rarely are you in conversation with someone where you speak for more than 30 seconds at a time. Have you ever been to dinner with somebody that talks and talks and talks and you never get a word in, or on a phone call? That's not fun. Rarely is that fun. Usually that means they're venting about something going on in their life. Like, it's usually not a positive thing when the other person talks and talks and talks.
Yeah.
So you need to have that 2-minute, but I would really focus initially on the 30-second.
I think that's excellent advice. And I think that causes a lot of confusion with people. I don't understand. Should I share my 30-second? Should I share my 2-minute? Well, chances are if you share your 30-second, it's going to be 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. It's good to shoot for less because you'll probably end up doing a little bit more, but yet you'll still stay within that range of not being overwhelming. So, okay. Hang on.
You can share 2 minutes if you want to, Katie.
You want to share the parts of the story?
Yes. Okay, so when you're packaging your story, it has 4 parts to it. It has, the first one is where you were. Okay, this is not like I was in Costco on the bread aisle. Like, it's like a general statement. For me, I was a tired teacher napping on my futon at the end of the school day. Where I was. Quick, there was pee on the futon too.
Wasn't hers.
Not mine. That's how tired I was. It didn't matter. Okay, where I was. That's short. It's really short. It's like 10 seconds, guys. No more than 15 seconds of your story.
Let's give some examples of that. Okay, where we were in life. We were at a point where everything looked good on the outside, but it wasn't so great on the inside financially. We were at a point in life where TJ was working 12-hour days, and I was at my business for 12 hours a day. What's another example, Allison? Where you were.
We were both overweight and we're struggling with our health because we had 2 small children, one with special needs, and my job kept me away. My husband was working 2 jobs, and we had to find a solution or else we were drowning.
Yeah. And another good thing to point out is that you don't have to be in a devastated state.
You don't.
But we were.
Well,
All of us
not all of
kind
us are, but
Right.
your person isn't probably wanting to admit that right away.
Sure, that's true.
So, get over broke, busted, and disgusted. You don't have to have that story. You don't have to have that to draw people to you. So, okay.
Then the second part is what I saw. Okay, this is also short. I saw my friends Jason and Kelly losing weight and funding their adoption. I saw my friend Jason lose 50 pounds in 4 months, and they had additional income to fund their adoption. I saw my friend Kelly go from a size 8 to a size 2. I saw my friend Kelly cut her marathon time in half. I would pick one of those. I wouldn't share all of them. I would pick one piece of it. Once again, it's very short, very quick, what you saw. Do y'all want to give examples?
Mine is going to be, I saw my friend Angela get to be a stay-at-home mom with her 3-year-old and 2-year-old earning $12,000 a month.
Mhm.
And I wanted that.
Mm-hmm. My husband saw TJ stop ordering barbecue nachos and Dr. Pepper and start ordering, healthier choices and water, and saw his results and said,
Yeah.
"What's up?
Yeah.
What are you doing?"
And see, that's great because that's product.
It is, yeah.
And that gets people's attention.
Mhm.
That still gets people's attention. Doesn't always have to be about the money.
Yes. Then the next part is what I did. Once again, it's brief, okay? What I did. So I got started. So I got on a 1-month plan. Do not use, I became a distributor. Don't use, I became an advisor. Don't use, I got on a 24-day challenge even. Anything that is advocare talk, that person's going to get stuck on what's a 24-day challenge? What's an advisor? And they're not going to hear the rest of what you have to say. Okay? So you keep it very broad and very tight.
That's good. Yeah, ours was, I got that first spark in my body and felt amazing.
Mhm.
And then, a lot of times I'll share we got straight to the highest discount level. You're never going to hear me say we got straight to advisor. We're going to say we got straight to the highest discount level because I'm cheap and I wanted to save as much as I could. True.
I say we got to the highest discount level as quickly as we could.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
there's, ways to say it like that. And then the last part, this is honestly where you get to expand. You don't have to keep it as 5 seconds quick, where I'm going. Okay. We had fantastic results because of that. We got to the highest discount level, and now I feel better at 30 than I did at 20. And I have replaced my teaching income to be able to stay home with Cameron. And we're going to be paying off all of our debt, the new Cast Vision, all of our debt within the next year.
Yeah. And then you always want to end with a question.
Mhm.
What part of that interests you?
So it's really a 5-part story because you
Kinda.
can end with a question.
Yeah, kind of.
Mhm.
That's how you put a bow on it.
Mhm.
Your question is your bow on your story. That's how you know that you've stopped telling it. And you're ready for that
Or else you
person.
get this. You finish and they're like, well, good. You haven't given them a way to enter into the conversation.
That's awesome.
So you want to give
That's
them
good
a way
for you.
to enter in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna prevent that. Well, that's really good for you. You want to say this is what it's done for me, and this is where I'm going. And it's really important that you speak where you're going. And if you can't speak where you're going with confidence,
Nobody's coming with you.
nobody's coming with you. Nobody wants to follow somebody who doesn't know where they're going. And that might be why you're having such a hard time, maybe, getting somebody connected on a 3-way call or getting them to a mixer, is because you don't yet clearly convey, what are you doing with this thing? What are you doing with this AdvoCare thing? So, get in your own space and figure that out. And then practice it.
And one thing I think that we are all guilty of at some point in time is we have given you our stories. We have given you some word choices that work for us as examples. But if you would never speak in a phrasing that I spoke, the people that know you are going to know that, and they're going to say, well, you're not genuine because I know you, and you wouldn't. It's
What's
about
happened to you?
what's happened to you. So you want to take these pieces, you want to weave them together so that it's strong, but so it's sincere. It has to be strong and sincere. It has to be you. Or else they're not going to want to go further because what has happened? You're not you anymore. So keep it tight, but make it you.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. Let me give you guys a lot of freedom in this. Stop trying to be somebody else. Be yourself, because your friends love you. Your friends are drawn to you. They don't know who Diane McDaniel is, so stop trying to be Diane McDaniel. They love you. So be you and use your own word choices. You don't have to have someone else's word choices, but you do need to follow that format. You do need to follow the where you were, what you saw, what you did, where you're going. That's for your protection, to keep you pulled together, seamless, George. So any questions about how to package your story, you can text that to me. Do you guys have any questions about packaging your story or sharing your story? No? Okay. If you think of one, at the end of the training, we'll come back to that if somebody thinks of one. But we have a lot of stuff to go over, so we're gonna plug on forward. Okay. So number one thing you have to do is you have to have your story package. You have to practice it so that you're comfortable and confident. Number two, and I think Allison is going to expand on this one a lot. How do I make the first call? I have my list, but oh my gosh, how do I make the call?
I think that's probably the most difficult thing that we have to do, really. I mean, if we all boil it down, we're all really willing to talk to the people who ask us questions. Mm-hmm. I mean, every one of us will answer and talk about how awesome Advocare has been for us when someone else asks us. But the hardest thing, at least for me, has been to get over that fear of, I don't want to say a cold call, but I thought of you, not when someone has asked you. And I really think that is the difference in a growth of your business and a momentum forward, is when you pull in, when you invite people into your story that didn't ask you first. And I think that's where you guys were, TJ and Casey. You weren't asking them first, correct? They asked you first to check out Advocare, the Pinnell.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It was definitely.
Advocare wasn't on our radar.
No, they reached to you first. And so I can think of people, in my own business who the ones I reach to first are really the ones who have done the most or been the most excited, because it was one of those answered prayers, if that's, what you believe in, or it was one of those things where they really needed a solution but weren't even at a point where they were searching for one. So for me, what I think, you have to get yourself geared up. You've got your names on your paper and you're like, okay, which one is it? Which one am I going to pick? But picking up the phone and making that first call is really where the rubber meets the road. So for me, I might like to say something like, hey, do you have a minute? And that's the first thing I would suggest, is that when you call somebody, you're going to ask for their permission to chat. Do they have time? Because if they're like, sure, I've got time, but they're like, got one kid in hand in the bathtub, and they've got, I'm trying to get dinner on the table. In your own life when a phone call is an imposition or when it is welcome. And so you might answer because you might think, well, I haven't heard from, April in a long time, so I'm going to see what she wants. But really, if they don't have time to listen, you don't want to go into things. And you just may want to say something simple like, I've got something I want to talk to you about, and when you've got 10 minutes, would you call me back? Or I'm going to give you a buzz back. Is 8:30 good? I just really want to talk to you about something. And most times, people are curious enough about what you have to say that they're going to give you that 10 minutes if you have a true relationship, or if they're, curious.
I think that's the key right there. You have a true relationship, because this business is built upon relationships.
Yes, that's good. And so if you are kind of cold calling, I would say, Jason Pinnell used to always say, when you say, well, I don't have anybody to talk to, he would say, have you called everyone in your phone contact list? If you've got someone's number in your cell phone, it's more likely that you have a relationship with them more so than like a random person that you might think of. And so if you're out there struggling for people, start scrolling through the people whose numbers are already in your phone.
Yeah.
Is a really good place to start,
good.
For that. But until you've gone through all those people and shared with them what's going on in your life, and invited them into your Advocare journey or story, you're not out of people. But when I call, that's the first thing I do.
Did you hear that? Did you catch that? Unless you've called every person in your contact list, you have not run out of people to talk to. Okay, continue.
And I haven't. So I'll just say 4 years in, I still got a lot more numbers in this phone that I have not called, and really numbers that haven't made it to the paper. So I know there's always more people, out there. But that's the first thing. So number one is going to be, ask for their time. And then, Charlotte. So after that, then you want to share just that quick, why did you think of them? And that's the next thing is, just for an example so that I can kind of talk you through one. I have a friend recently who we were together at a park play date, and she shared that her husband had gone through 2 jobs recently, and that she was trying to start her practice in psychology, and they're about to run out of their savings. And so basically she was saying, if I can't get my business going, we're going to be out of savings, and instead of continuing to live out of state, we're going to have to move back home to Tennessee. And so she was really sharing a financial need. This friend is fit. This friend is healthy. She's not looking for a weight loss solution. So I have no common ground to talk to her really about weight loss. But what she was telling me is that she needs a financial solution, a plan B to fill in the gap between their passion. His passion is law and her passion is a psychology practice. But there's a money gap in the middle. And so that day I struggled, and I struggled just like you struggle, with should I share this right now or should I wait? Should I share this right now or should I wait? So I didn't share it. There were more people around and I didn't. But when I would call her, when I placed the phone call to her and said, what we talked about at the park the other day has just stayed with me. And I really feel like I should share with you what Brad and I are doing for our Plan B income. Do you have 10 minutes? And she knew of Advocare, so she was someone who was mildly familiar. And I would venture to say many of your friends who are on a level that you've been in person with them, they're mildly aware that you do a home business, if you've been doing it for any length of time. But she said, well, sure, and she's like, and immediately she said, I'm not sure that I want to sell anything. And I said, that's okay. But if you are looking for answers, I just would love to share with you. And so I shared my story with her, and I said, does that sound like something you guys would be interested in, or at least taking a look at? And so that's when I put together, she told me yes. And so I put together the Impact magazine, the Spark, the DVD, mailed it to her, and we have a follow-up appointment set for next week. Awesome. But that's the thing, is you have to invite that conversation, because if I just put it in the mail and sent her a Facebook message, I don't really know that she would have looked at it. And so I think that's kind of a key, is that personal, your mouth to their mouth, that lips to lips, or lips to shoe leather, not lips to lips. Don't kiss your friends. But you know what I'm saying? Actually giving it a voice is really the difference maker between the, reading and actually doing. And so for me, picking that name, going for it, asking for their time, and then actually sharing from your heart, very short. It wasn't a long conversation. She knew what I was calling. When I got into it, she knew where I was going with it. But that was a good, first, I guess, discussion. And then the other thing, I had something else I was going to say. Do you have anything to add while I'm thinking?
I do,
Okay.
what you're thinking about that, but you go ahead if you
I
want.
would say I don't have lots of phone numbers in my phone. I straight from high school, me and all my friends were on Facebook, and so that's how we've kept up with each other. So I know that's a different facet for some people. Like, what if I don't have their number? Like, I would still say I have a relationship with people. We'll Facebook, hey, where do you want to go for lunch? And like, that's how we meet up. We don't do it through a phone number. And so in that instance, that opening line Allison used, I have been thinking about you. When would you have a few minutes so we can talk? That's all that you need to include in a Facebook message as well. What's your number and a good time to talk, sort of thing. It doesn't, don't. It's called Advocare. I made it. That's not where you put your 30-second story. It's just that really quick. Hey, when do you have 5 minutes? Obviously, if you already have their phone number, it's going to be easier to connect with them. But you have to work with what you have.
But I think the key to it, though, is at some point you have to get voice.
You do. Oh, that's good.
Interaction. Yeah, at some point you have to do that. And here's what Allison did so beautifully in that situation was that she listened and she made it about them, what's in it for them, and she positioned AdvoCare in a way that it would be a solution, that it would be appealing. She didn't make it in a way of, will you buy this?
Mm-mm.
She didn't talk about weight loss. Her friend did not need to lose weight. She made it about what that person needed and what that person wanted, and positioned it as a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's key. I think the relationship is key. What's in it for them is key, and sharing honestly from your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Voice.
yeah, saying, I can't get this out of my head. That's going to cause your friend to go, well, I'm thinking about this. Maybe your friend did post something on Facebook, since we're talking about Facebook. You don't instantly shoot them a message of, I saw that you said that you were exhausted, and I've got this stuff that's really going to help you. Send them a message that says, I've really been thinking about something that you posted the other day. When would you have a second to talk?
Well, and that's the relationship part of it, too. I know that I once heard Danny McDaniel say, if you don't know anything, you have to know something about the person in order to be able to offer a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you're meeting people in public, I know we're working off the list today, but even when you're meeting people in public, you still have to ask important questions so that you know what you're sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can customize.
So that you can, you can't just.
It has to be an applicable message.
We have 4 or 5 product lines. I
Yeah.
see that you need facial products.
Yeah.
You can't.
Looks like you're having a skin problem
You're
there.
having some skin issues.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And we always say, don't be weird.
Don't be
Don't be weird. That is the key to every training. And so let's I guess boil this down. So you have your list. You're choosing someone off the list. You're going to share 30 seconds. You're going to keep it short. You're going to pick up the phone. You're going to share from the heart, and you're going to say, I thought of you for this reason. Anything else that we want to add to that?
I don't like it when I hear that people say, I thought of you because you needed to lose weight. I mean, that's just kind of like, we do put those people on our
Okay,
list.
so say somebody's
Yeah.
on your list
Yeah.
because you know that they need to lose weight. How do you contact that person?
Okay, that's a great question, since I am one of those persons. I would never, ever suggest that you call someone and say, I thought of you because I've lost all this weight and I wanted you to come along with me on this journey. Like, putting it onto them that they should also want to lose weight. Because we do say, make a list of people who need to lose weight. Because those are target people who would want what we have. So, I mean, that's a legitimate name on your list, but it's moving from the name on the list. How can you be in their space? How can you be in relationship with them? Not fake, not in any way phony, but being in their space and allowing them to see what you're seeing and living in a way that invites the question from them, or living in a way in community, in relationship, that gives them the opportunity to see what you're doing and for you to share naturally. A lot of times people who are overweight also need energy. It's a lot less threatening to say, I found something that's helped me replace my Diet Coke habit. Sharing a spark with them is still, the thing that will bust you through to then later talk about weight loss. But I would just challenge you not to pick up the phone, and maybe you've never done this, but I would challenge you not to pick up the phone and blab somebody's ear off about how you've lost all this weight and you want them to also. Because they're just going to shut you down if they're not feeling convicted about their weight.
What if they have made the statement, I've got to do something about this weight, or I've got to lose these 15 pounds that I've put on over the summer?
Completely different story.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you approach that? Like, you've heard your friend, you're at a play date and you've heard your friend say that, or it's one of your coworkers and you've heard your coworker say that. How do you then go approach that conversation?
Do you want me to answer?
You do it.
Okay. For me, I would find a time where I could either call them or if we're together, just say, have you ever considered AdvoCare? That's one way that would open the discussion, because some people may or may not have ever considered it, and some people may have, once upon a time tried it and, quit or whatever. So it's just good to find out, what do you know about it? And if they don't know anything, then that opens the door for you to share your story. And if they have an experience, then you can figure out how you're going to share your story based on what they already know. But then you don't spend 2 minutes giving them the history of AdvoCare if they've already done a 24-day challenge and maybe they did it wrong and didn't lose any weight or whatever. So it just is good for me. have you ever considered Advocare or Advocare supplements would be one option. Another option would be I'm putting together a group of people who are also trying to accomplish this goal, and we're gearing up to get started in the next 2 or 3 weeks, whatever date that is. If you've got a group challenge in your back pocket, then you can say, would sure love to, if you want to jump in with us, we'd be happy. And then they will ask you, what is that? And that gives you the door open to share. But those are just kind of 2 options that I would suggest.
It's good.
Well, and I think something else to keep in your mind, people see weight loss, but Advocare is not a weight loss company.
Mm-hmm.
So also that's part of your phrasing. Well, what is Advocare? Okay, it is a health and nutrition company. It's not a weight loss company. If you start, it's a weight loss company, well, then that's going to, first of all, it's not true. And second of all, that's going to convey you need to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to make sure that you know what Advocare is. Even like a cleanse even. We talked about this at training in July. A cleanse says to support weight loss. It's not for weight loss. So you need to keep that mindset on anytime you're talking about a challenge. Okay? This is to get you healthy. This is to get you healthy. Yes.
That's good. That's good. Flip your health switch. Okay, you're wearing your colors. What is Advocare? What is Advocare, Christy?
Have you never heard of Advocare before? I like to do that. To be, it's like, nobody, like it makes them be like, oh my God, somebody has.
And they say, well, I see it all over Facebook, but I really don't know what it is.
No. Or the other thing you get have y'all ever been I heard this one time with flyers. We're not handing out flyers. But when someone says, have you gotten this yet? If you do see someone handing out flyers, you're like, no, thank you. But if someone says, oh, have you gotten it yet? You feel like I'm missing out on something. Yes. Instead of, well, let me throw this away for you.
Yeah.
Well, you've never heard it. I like to say, nobody that loves you has ever told you about Advocare. So that way it also frames it as, this is for people I care about. It's not something I'm splashing around. And
you solicit your own response.
Mhm.
Your actions solicit the response that you're going to receive.
And then from there, I would say, oh my God, it is awesome. And then I would go into my 30 seconds.
Yeah. Amazing nutritional supplements. Help me go from an 810 to a 24, eliminate $150,000 in debt, and bring my husband home to be a full-time flexible work from home dad. I'm working on that. I'm working on that part yet.
For my 4 children.
For my 4 children. And you know what Advocare's done for me? It gives me somebody else to take the kids to and from school, and it's amazing. Now, Mama, let me tell you, if you don't want to have to get up in the morning and take your 4 kids to school, you get in gear and work your Advocare business because it's incredible. That's the story I need to share at play dates. I'll have people lined up. Okay.
But
Really
then
good.
keep it tight. Keep it, like, you build the excitement, and then you keep it.
Yeah. All right. Make it about them. Keep it simple. Don't be overwhelming. Share your story. Your friends don't want to sit and listen to Advocare is a 21-year-old nutritional supplements company with a scientific and medical advisory board with over 21 years of experience. We have over 200 Olympic and professional athletes who use our products because they know that they're the very best. There's no banned substances, no contaminants in our products. They have turned their brain off and are trying to find a way of escape away
You just became a billboard and commercial.
Yes. I mean, you have just said.
Said it and forget
Yes. You've just said, way too much. They don't care about that. But if you say, oh, my friend Christy went from a 14 to a size 4, and now she gets to stay home with her little girl. That's Advocare stories.
We should call her,
are
see if she
Advocare.
wants to meet us at the park.
Yeah, she did.
Because I can.
All right. Any questions about picking up the phone and making a call? What do you guys feel is the hardest part about doing that? Because I know everybody has their list. What do you feel like is the hardest part of picking up the phone and making a call?
For me, I think it's just because a lot of those people I haven't talked to in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because the jobs that I've done have been very isolated in my little home studio.
Mm-hmm.
So these are people I may not have talked to for 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get that going again?
Exactly the same way that Angela called me the first time. She did it wrong a few times. She sent me Facebook messages. We joked about this the other night because she found the original Facebook messages that she sent me. She sent me screenshots of them, and we laughed. But here's when she got results. She picked up the phone and said, you know what, Casey, I know that it has been a long time since we've talked. I mean, this was 4 years ago. The last time we talked when we graduated high school in 1996, okay? That's the last time Angela and I talked. And she said, but you know what, I've just got you on my heart, and I've got something that I want to share with you. Do you have a few minutes that you can talk? So she asked permission. She told me why she was calling. She didn't try to catch up with me. She actually said, I would love to know how you and TJ are doing, but I'm calling for a reason. We've talked about this in previous trainings, but I know we have a lot of new people online. You know, don't call and try to connect right then. Connect with them before you want to talk to them about AdvoCare if you want, but don't call, have a 10-minute conversation with them and say, have you ever heard of AdvoCare? Because they just feel like they have been slimed. You have used me. I have shared my heart about what my kids are doing, what my husband, what my wife is doing, and that's the only reason that you want to talk to me was about AdvoCare. And so she said, I know we haven't talked in a while. This may or may not be for you. Here's why I thought of you, and here's what Jason and I are doing right now and what I want to share with you. Calling for a purpose. Wow. Calling for a purpose.
That story was worth the drive this morning. Right there.
Well, you know, I still avoided her phone calls for 7 months, but obviously it worked. You know, obviously, you know, she got results, and she was one who didn't have my phone number. I did have to give her my phone number. Ended up giving her my work number. I didn't want to give her my cell phone number.
Did you know why she wanted to call you? Did you have it in the back of your
I
head?
knew why she wanted to call me because she originally sent me a Drew Brees video and a message about how AdvoCare is a world-class nutritional supplements company, and I was like, delete, you know. So I knew that she'd already kind of gotten off to a rough start. Mm-hmm. So let me give you a little bit of peace of mind knowing that if you have done this wrong with somebody, it is okay.
It's not too late.
It is not too late if you have done that with somebody.
And you can be persistent without being annoying,
yes.
But you need to use discernment.
But here's why I ended up giving her my number, because she positioned something to me that caught my attention. Now, in her case, she and Jason had just earned their first incentive trip to Peter Island, and Andy Andrews was there, and so she had made a post that she was vacationing with Andy Andrews. And I was like, wait a minute, because I just heard him speak at a conference. But that, you know, she didn't do that for me. Right. She didn't make that post. She just positioned her life in a way that it was appealing to me. Something about that appealed to me. And so that's when I said, all right, I know this has to do with AdvoCare, but why are you vacationing with Andy Andrews, you know? And I still didn't really know what AdvoCare was. You know, I had looked at some things online, but all that to say, I gave her my work number because she finally said something that spoke to me. She made it about me.
Can I tag on to that?
Sure.
As far as, I think we received several mixer invitations on Facebook from you guys, and each time I went, delete,
yeah.
delete, delete.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the personal relationship that opened the door to have real conversations that led to action.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can't do it, you know, you can't do it wrong, you know, if long enough.
You can't.
Can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
You can make it harder, though.
You can, and it might take longer.
Yeah, you
so
can make that mountain a little bit harder to climb.
We can all overcome our mistakes.
Yeah, we can. When we get out of the mindset of, I have to have 75 people invited to this mixer, when you let go of that mindset, so I'm going to create a Facebook event, and get to the point of, who do I really want in the space of my living room that I want to share this with? When you get into that mindset and you make an invitation based on that with your voice, that's when you're going to start seeing results. I thought I saw a question. Did one of y'all have a question? No? Okay. Go ahead. I'm just imagining it up there.
I also wanted to say, probably you knew what kind of person Angela was, too, even though it had been a long time. Maybe. And I think you can establish yourself with people so that they know you're a genuine, normal person.
Yes.
And so instead of just being obsessive on Facebook about AdvoCare,
Yes.
I like the 1 to 10 ratio.
Yes.
I really try to, first of all, I've always been a big Facebook person anyway, so my normal life is already on there. So it's easy for me to bring in about 1 every 10. And every once in a while, I'll go down my feed and count.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that I have actually, sometimes it might be 1 to 6, but
Yeah.
it just depends on how excited I am that day.
Right.
But someone sent me a Facebook message a week ago and said, I just wanted to thank you for being tasteful in the way that you share Advocare. And I don't always know or feel if I am or not. I just share from my heart in the way that I think I would be receptive to it.
Yeah.
Like what appealed to me.
Yes.
And she said, there's so many people trying to sell stuff on Facebook these days, and I think you have a good balance. And that's what some of my distributors have to try to gently tell them, hey, you haven't really been very active on Facebook. And now I've seen like 3 or 4 Advocare posts that said you might want to try to either A, mix in a little bit more personal, stuff, or B, take your interactions about Advocare more personal to your people first, or I don't know. I like the 1 to 10 ratio on Facebook.
Yes.
And that way, the other 9 posts, you should be just sharing who you are and people learning more about you. So that when you do come around to reaching out to them personally, they have a little bit better idea of who they're working with, what kind of person,
Do they want
where
to
you're
be who
coming
you
from.
are? Do they want to do what you do?
Yeah.
That's what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
Do the people in your newsfeed want to be who you are? Do they want to do what you do? Now, does that mean that you have to be at your final destination? No. If people see that you're getting to your destination, they want to jump on that train and they want to go. Not because you're posting a link to a new product that we have or a new flavor of Spark or something like that. People are going to skim right past that. If people don't know how awesome Spark is, they could care less that there's a different flavor of it, They need to know how great it is.
And I've had several people inquire from me on Facebook. I was like, hey, can I get your number? I'll give you a call whenever your kids are asleep. Nothing.
Yeah.
And, they don't want to do it. And so if they don't respond, I'll just say, hey, have you had a Spark yet? Yeah. And so that has been one way, and they'll be like, no. And I say, can I get your address? And they'll give me their address. And then I cannot tell you, I even almost put it on the Facebook page the other day. The name of our team Facebook page is exactly true. I cannot tell you from the distributors that I have and the people who have gotten a challenge, probably 1 to 3 have had a Spark. And there's some people who get a Spark and I don't know what the big deal is, blah, 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 but it's rare. And the Spark really has turned into distributors who place $700 orders, and it's turned into a lady who wasn't interested, but her and her husband both bought a challenge, and, it is just get a Spark.
Get a Spark in their body.
And I know this might be a waste and a little extravagant, but I will send 2 flavors because some people will not focus on how it makes them feel over the flavor. And so I always try to send 2 so that they'll have a second shot.
Yes.
And that has also been very effective for me.
With the latest couple that we shared with, I sent 2, and I wrote a note and said, we have 9 different flavors. Here are 2 that I popped in for you.
And then people, I say, don't focus on the flavor. Focus on how it makes you feel. There are 10 different flavors, or however many there are now.
No, there may be 10.
Yeah. 10 or 11. I don't know because of the 2 Palooza ones. But anyway, don't focus on how it makes you feel over the flavor. We can find your flavor, so anyway.
Okay, here's another point. We can do my water glass, please. It's how you position Spark, just like how you solicit the response that you receive.
Yeah.
It's the same with Spark. I'm sending this to you because I love it. This is what it's done for me, and I know that you're going to love it too. I know it's going to help you with this too. You don't want to oversell Spark, but you don't want to sheepishly kind of hand it to them either. You want to say, I love it. This is what it's done for me. I know that you're going to love it too.
I say replace your coffee in the morning with it, or take it right after lunch when you're going to have an afternoon slump, or you need to make it for the afternoon. Those are the 2 times I recommend that you try it so you can really see what it can do for you.
And I think that made me think so much too about Facebook posts and the message you said. I know a lot of people like to post testimonies, so and so's lost this much pound, or I love getting texts like this. I think those are great stories. I think a lot of times we tend to post, thank you so much for sharing this with me. That tells the world nothing. Spark is awesome. That actually doesn't really tell. I actually focused on my kids today when I picked them up from school. That's
Yeah.
something that's going to mean something to somebody. Spark is awesome. It is awesome, but that's not going to mean anything to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Spark canister with muscles on it doesn't actually mean anything to anybody.
I had all these people share, like this girl said, I've been taking my metabolism in a pill since I had my thyroid removed years ago or whatever, and she said, I have never had something, this was just this week, surge day 1, I gave away 8 samples, that might be a little expensive, I mean, slow down. But anyway, but it was worth it, because the very next day, 1 out of the 8 contacted me and said, I've never had anything that doesn't make me jittery. The second Spark I take today that helps me like this has helped me. I will get everything I need to get done this week today. And she said, I need to know more about this. And she's been on my heart to get in the business part. She just quit her job to stay home, the adopted, blah, blah, blah. And so it has been an entry point. And I just keep thinking, get the Spark, give it,
Spark in your cabinet's not going to make any money. Holding
No.
on to the Spark in your cabinet is not.
You get
gonna
one
grow
more
your
customer,
business.
one customer for every 14 packs of Spark you give out.
It's worth it.
Absolutely.
It's worth it. Where product goes, business flows. You have to get product out there. I'm telling you, that new Slim came out. I got it in some of my friends' bodies, and they are hooked. Hooked. It's worth the
I
investment.
told a new distributor this week when he got his distributor kit and then he got a challenge, so he got plenty of Spark.
Mhm.
I said, what do I do with all the Spark? I said, well, you're going to drink, what you have. The stuff in your distributor kit, divide it in half. Put half of it in your shoulder bag, half of it in your glove box. You can't help people with Spark if you don't have it with you.
See, the packets in your distributor kit or the box of Spark that you buy, that seed that you're going to put into your business. Same as, when you come up upon a time and you're like, okay, I'm really ready to grow my business, you're going to buy at least 1 box of Spark, at least 1 pack of Impact magazines. You're going to partner them together. You're going to get them out. You're going to highlight them. You're going to circle them. You're going to open them if that person is in front of you. You're going to Post-it note with highlight and circles if that person is not in front of you, if you're putting it in the mail. Do not send a pristine Impact magazine to anyone, because that will not get opened, will it, Allison?
No, in fact,
No.
it might get thrown in your trash
It
can.
will get thrown in your trash can. You can't do it long enough, I tossed in Impact magazine to Allison early on. She threw it away. But if you took the time to Post-it note it, highlight it, and circle it in those stories,
Have it, yeah.
tab it, they are going to look. You press those pages down to open up to the stories that you want them to see. You give them a reason to open it.
Or you just say on page 49, I really thought about page 49 really could apply to you, or really relates to you, and I'm gonna call you next, whatever. I have not done this, so I'm not talking from experience, but I'm just thinking. That would say, okay, she's tabbed in a certain place. I'm gonna open it. At least look at that page.
What's in it for them? It's always about what's in it for them. Okay. Let's see. Do we want to do group challenge now, or do we want to say group challenge for after 1-to-1, 2-on-1, and reports? We already talked about group challenge, so.
Essentially, the first phone call is a kind of an entry into one-on-one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and go to 1-on-1, but it's really important to me that we cover the flyer and the group challenge, so y'all don't forget that.
Okay.
And it's about 9:50.
Okay.
Okay. What is a 1-to-1, and how do you execute it?
Okay, so that first phone call could be a one-to-one, being at a park play date and getting to share your story, getting to learn about them. That can be a one-to-one. They are sometimes strategic, and sometimes they pop up and happen. Okay, they are to you growing your business, because this is where you're getting your 30 seconds out there, but you're also figuring out how the other person fits in. You're asking questions. If you don't know things about them, you're asking about their family. You're asking about their occupation. You're asking about recreation, what they like to do. You're asking those questions so you can figure out how to position AdvoCare for them. One-on-ones can be very short. You need to be careful if a one-on-one gets very long.
One-on-one should be.
They should be short. If they start getting long, then all of a sudden you're now a tabletop mixer. Like you've totally skipped over part 1.
You need to change the subject. If you're doing a 1-to-1 in person, you've shared your story, you've given the Impact magazine, you've given the Spark. At some point, you need to change the subject and move on.
If I think of it this way: if I'm going to lunch with a friend, it just happens to be a lunch, I'm going to have those tools in there, and part of our conversation might be to one-to-one, but our whole lunch is not the one-on-one.
That's really good. Yeah, I think because we are in that mentality that a one-to-one is an event that's big and long, and we think we have to have this meeting. And I know for me in the early times, like that was what I thought I needed to do. I needed to go to someone's house with all of my stuff and unpack it at the kitchen table and say, I'm going to tell you about the 24-day challenge. And that was my one-to-one. I made sure they drank a Spark, but basically I did a mixer for them when I should have kept my mouth shut.
When third-party credibility starts creeping in, when jargon starts creeping in, you have exited what you want a one-on-one to look like.
Yeah. And what do you want the one-to-one to look like? What do you want it to look like?
I want the end of it to be an invitation for more, or if for some reason they got really excited, we can place an order.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I want it to be an invitation for more.
Yeah, it should be. That's where one-to-one should end up as an invitation to more. Because remember, the success system is a cycle. You know, sharing your story, it's the one-to-one, it's the two-on-one, it's the mixer, it's the big event. Monday night, get to Franklin. If you are within a few hours driving distance, get to Franklin and bring a friend with you. No matter what, bring a friend with you Monday night to that event. Anyway, that's a side note. I didn't want to forget about that. The success system is a cycle. So that's how the one-to-one should end, as an invitation to the next event. Maybe you're going to say, you know what, you just really need to meet my friend, blah, blah, blah. She or he's the one who's helped me in this, and they'll help you too. Maybe you schedule a two-on-one with that person. If there's a mixer within 2 days, invite them to a mixer. If there's not a mixer within 2 days, you schedule a two-on-one or a webinar.
Which can be a phone call. Like, that's something,
Yes,
like
a three-way call.
the next step.
Skip three-way call.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, the one-on-one, it doesn't necessarily, because the first time you give them a spark and an impact and you're talking about, you know, just kind of sharing that quick thing, it may not be, yes, I'd like to sit down in person with your friend for an hour and talk about advocacy.
Right.
You know, it really could be, I'm going to call, like, every step is an appointment.
Yes.
I think maybe that's the
Every
phrasing.
step
It's
is
an
an
appointment, like, you set the appointment for the phone call that you're going to follow up from that spark and impact, or you're setting the appointment for, you know, following up on your discussion about, you know, a 24-day challenge. You know, you make sure that you leave the meeting, leave the one-on-one time with, I'm setting an appointment for the next step.
And you're giving them something. You're giving them an impact. You're saying, oh, there's a whatever. Maybe I don't always like to go one-on-one to webinar, but if that's the next best thing, or I'm sending you, oh, you know, you're a lawyer. I'm going to send you this video my friend Whitney Gladden, and then we'll talk later. You know, like, you're giving them something to chew on before the next appointment.
When they ask the question is when you get them introduced on a three-way phone call. Well, yeah, I want to know more about this. Well, you know what? I want you to hear about it from my friend who's helping me, instead of, here's the 24-day challenge, you know.
Breeze takes Cold Boy, and they go and have lunch at the Spark Bar.
Instead of just dumping on them, you move them to an appointment. You know, I want you to meet my friend. Again, no advocare jargon, no, they're my leader, they're my sponsor, they're my mentor.
They're emerald, they're diamond, they're platinum.
Please don't. They're my friend. They're my friend who's helping me. That's the only word that you ever want to use to introduce the person who you're introducing. Even on the phone, you know, when you're introducing Alice, phone call. Christy, this is my friend Allison. You're gonna love her. She's a 3-star gold leader in advocare. Don't. Really want you to meet my friend Allison. She's amazing. She's an incredible story. I want you to be sure that you get a chance to hear that, and she's going to be an excellent resource for you to answer questions. That's the way that you want to introduce. So yes, one-to-one to a three-way call or to a two-on-one. Two-on-one, in my mind, is if someone says, Christy, you get to stay at home, you earn how much per month? How do you do that?
It's more business.
That's a two-on-one is going to be more business-oriented, unless, you know, that person is just I'm an in-person, you know, like if it's a coworker and I want to run up there on your lunch break and share with them or something.
If someone says, can we get together, your answer is yes.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how, like, if they say, can we get together, you want to get in their space if you can at all, if it's at all possible.
Let me soapbox here for just a minute. fast, quick, move, momentum. You don't say, great, there's a mixer next week at my friend Casey's house. I want you to come to it. No, you move them to the next step as quickly as possible before somebody steals their joy or they get cold feet. And that's in their best interest, you know, not necessarily, you know, that's not about you. That's about helping them. They've made up their mind. Go for it. Do it. You know, go. Go, 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 go. Quit dragging your feet. All right, so that's what a one-to-one should look like. What's a two-on-one, and how do you execute a two-on-one?
Me or you?
I don't care.
Well, let's just tag team it.
Okay.
Okay, so 2-on-1 is going to be you, your friend, and your prospects. 2 to 1. Okay, and
Don't call it a two-on-one when you're
don't
excited about
talk. We're gonna hang out with my friend. I mean, it's just very, keep it casual. When you get there, you're gonna introduce like the same way you would on a call, and you're gonna shut your mouth.
You're spark them up.
You're spark 'em up. You're gonna nod your head, and you're gonna take notes. If you're the leader, this is when you're telling your story. This is when you're pulling in that third-party credibility. You might, instead of handing a tabbed Impact magazine, you have an Impact magazine that you're actually opening and talking about with the visuals.
There's also an amazing resource on our microsite. It's just a little flip book. Casey's about to grab one for us, but they're like $2. It's a little tabletop guide. It's a great resource for a 2-on-1 because you can flip it. Oh, I guess you can't see me, but sorry. You can flip it open, and on this side, it tells you about, you know, what your person is seeing, which you can't really see this on the screen. Okay, it's all right. You guys have probably seen it. And then on the back, there are notes for you right here, so you kind of have some talking points.
Don't read those points, but glance at them.
No, but it just kind of helps you make sure that you're on the right track. Christy and I were actually in this situation where a mixer that we hosted turned into a 2-on-1 appointment, and she was third-party credibility for me. And so you know, you're asking a lot of questions, though, of the person, because you don't want to be sharing information in the 2-on-1 appointment that doesn't apply to them. Maybe they could care less about losing weight. You know, again, if we put the scenario with my friend that I was talking about earlier, she's out of state, so we won't be having an in-person 2-on-1, but if we did a Skype type thing or whatever, I wouldn't be hammering in how much weight she could lose. You know, I would really be talking to her about the income opportunity and how we have products in multiple lines that will help people no matter where they are. You know, but that is, you're going through the basic points of what is AdvoCare, what are the opportunities, the 4 ways to engage in AdvoCare, and offering them, you know, the solution. But a 2-on-1 is the same as the 3-way phone call. The person who is bringing the new person to the meeting keeps their mouth shut. You know, and I remember doing 2-on-1 appointments with Jason Pinnell and him saying, like, I don't need you to help me. You know, I would interject and try to say funny things to make it seem so, you know, calm or whatever. And I can remember him, you know, giving me feedback afterwards and just saying, you know, I don't need you to help me. Like, I want you to just sit there and smile and nod. Shake the spark, hand it to him, smile and nod. And he wasn't being rude, but he was just trying to make sure that what he had to share was heard and not undermined. And so that's kind of our role when we're the person bringing the new person, is we're not trying to undermine our leader. We're just trying to edify and support them, and whatever they say is what we, you know, want to.
And if you come across interjecting, then your friend's going to think, why did we even get this third person here? You want, like, if you have the answers, then why did this third person show up?
Those are your tools for your 2-on-1 meeting. That's what you do. You bring the Impact magazine. It's tabbed up with Post-it notes, and you open it up and you share.
That's what they've already underlined, marked it up, it's ready to go. So that way, too, as you're flipping, you want to know the stories, but then that's going to give you quick talking points. I lost nearly 24 pounds, my mood changed, I was more positive, you know, to be able to share those quick points. And those are the stories that are going to, you know, how many people they're not related to themselves, could think of, man, I'd really like to get my spouse on this and get them their mood to change. So.
I think two-on-ones can happen in a variety of settings. They can also be park play dates. They can be meeting at, at Panera. They can be, I've done two-on-ones sitting on the floor in my living room while my, friend and their prospect was sitting on my couch. You can make them real informal, and they're a lot more comfortable than actually sitting across the table, where it looks very business-like. It can be very informal and sitting on the floor, just being very comfortable. But you're able to, I can think of one where we were at a friend's house and the kids were all playing in the bonus room, and me and the other two moms were sitting against the wall watching the kids. We weren't even looking at each other. We were watching the kids play, and we got the Impact magazine open between us, and we were talking, back and forth about, the different options. And that mom, totally wanted the business, and that was her, the time. But it didn't look like I thought a two-on-one business meeting should look. It was very different, but it works. Because this is a as-you-go business.
Do you want to be who you are?
Right. That mom wanted to be investing in other women and play dates, and that was her world. And for her to do AdvoCare, that was going to be what she did. So
that's something I think is really important. At a two-on-one, three-way phone call, you want to have an event on the calendar, and you want your leader to know about it so that they can be a part of that invitation process. In some instances, if they're going to be there, I would love to meet you. If it's a three-way phone call, I'd love to meet you in person. If it was two-on-one, we would love for you to come.
Why don't you expand on how to invite someone to an event, to an impending event?
Jason did a phenomenal call on this Thursday night and talked a lot about the call was because we have this huge event with Diane McDaniel. And sometimes I think what we don't realize is like a two-on-one three-way phone call versus a mixer. What's the same, what's different? And I think the big difference is, number one, it's you have more people in the room. I mean, they're saying 400 to 500 people on Monday night. Like, even if they don't connect with Diane, which they're going to connect with the enthusiasm in the room of 400 to 500 people that are on board and excited. And so that's one thing that you're getting at a mixer or a big event is they're seeing other people excited about it. I know we did it at the Bod Pod mixer last year and literally had people pouring out of my bedroom and kitchen in the hallway. There were 35 people. Mm-hmm. Like, that excitement pushed people into action. So that's one thing that's really, that your mindset needs to get to, of like what makes it different to get people to a mixer versus a three-way phone call or a two-on-one. The other thing is then you have live and more stories. When you're doing a two-on-one or a three-way phone call, you might share a story or two stories, but it's very different than in person. Now Casey's going to share her story, or even being able to use the DVD and be like, and connect with other people in the room. It's just going to be different. It's the difference between having your a quiet, like doing a, have you ever done it, like, I do Bible studies, and I've done some where I study at my house, and then it's just always me at my house, versus like I do it at my house, and then I meet with a group to discuss. There's a difference in the depth that I get out of it when I'm in a room to discuss. And so that's what you're getting with transitioning to the mixer and the large events. When it comes to inviting, you want to talk about how exciting it is without saying it's going to be the most amazing night of your life. Like, you don't, it's like SPAR.
Changing.
It's this oversell versus undersell, and you have to hit it in the middle. You have to say it's going to be really, like, this is worth clearing your calendar for. I would love to come pick you up, and if you're like, not yourself, be like, no, like, I would love to come and get you. Like, you kind of want to help remove those excuses. I have a sitter. Do you want to share a sitter? And making those things. And I'll let you add to this.
I'd like to bump to April on this because she has. I'd like for you to share. Like, what are you doing? How are you promoting the Monday night event? What did you do for your group?
Well, we have a group challenge going on right now, so it was really helpful because a lot of people are excited. The momentum. It's like 25 people. It's not just my customers; it's my distributors' customers as well, and we are online together. And so I just said 2 spots left in my van. It's true, because I have built the relationship with these people, and so I did leapfrog over some of my distributors who aren't buying in, haven't been to a big event, so they don't know. Mm-hmm. And so I've just invited them personally, and so just said, if you're any bit interested in being more inspired, because they're already all very enthusiastic. any more inspired by what Advocare has done for others, hearing more stories, and then for their health and even for their finances, then this is a great place for you to come.
And you're going to dinner together. So
we're going to dinner.
Have a
challenge friendly because we're all
Yeah.
in a challenge together.
Right,
So we're
which
going to go
is
to dinner
great.
first.
Because the event is at 7:27 or whatever.
We're going to
so
leave
you
Murfreesboro at 5.
Yeah, you could, there's some time. So, I mean, that was a creative way I thought was a great idea, inviting people to dinner and be in community and then go together to the event. You have more accountability that way, too, of having
Right.
a group of people. I just love the accountability of
And
that.
because they all have been in communities
Yeah.
doing the challenge together, they're all more excited about, oh, they're going, and the people who are going are excited about it. So, well, we say that, and then we'll all show up with one person. As of right now, there are 5.
No, you
As of right now, there are 6 of us, counting my husband, who will already be in Franklin. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And just that personal invitation and giving them an excitement and a reason to come makes a huge difference.
And those mixers and 2-in-1s, Jason talked about this. I remember when I first got involved, people would say, I remember hearing another distributor say, tell them not to bring their wallet to the mixer. Like, that's why I tell people, leave your money at home. If you have followed steps, like we talk about the success system circle, and there are multiple steps, but if you'll notice, nowhere in there is when they purchase. Now is when they become an advisor. That's nowhere in the circle because it can happen at any point in time. But if you have layered them properly, by the time you get to a mixer, they should be ready to make a decision.
Yeah.
And you need to be prepared for people to make a decision. Is it a candle party and nobody's leaving the room until I've hit my goal? No, that's not it at all. But you need to be ready. There are order forms online that you can get and print off so that people can make decisions. You have a smartphone, you can bring an iPad. I know there's going to be Wi-Fi on Monday night. I know when the mixers are at my house, there's Wi-Fi. Like, you need to be prepared for people to make a decision, and you need to offer the opportunity.
yeah.
You don't pressure the opportunity, but you offer the opportunity.
Well, they're already thinking, okay, I'm saying, y'all love these products. There is no sense in moving forward and continuing on product consistently without getting it at wholesale. And so this is a great opportunity to find out how that works. And
Right. We were talking about this on the way too. A great training tip is if they're sitting there after a big event and they're like, I'm pumped up, then sit in the floor, place the order. Like, get on the floor with your iPad or sit in the chair at the event.
You can do it on your phone.
Yeah,
if you need to.
do it while they're excited, so that they don't go home and have a dream stealer or, cool off or change their mind and decide to work their way there. You're helping people get into immediate action. Because it's what's best for them. Because we know if they've said they want to make money, we know they're going to make money by getting into immediate action and empowering them to help others immediately. We know if it takes more than 72 hours for them to make their first sale, if their goal is money making, we know that if it takes longer than 3 days for them to make some money, the likelihood of them sticking it out goes way down. So you have to kind of fight an uphill battle if you don't get them into action when they're ready, when they're immediately excited about it. So.
And with that said, Rick Lloyd at the Duncan's Diamond Celebration said, you never say, well, you should put this on a credit card. You never tell someone how to spend their money, but if they have a plan in action, if it was, their idea, they decided to do this, you help them and you pledge to do everything you can, with the people they send you, with what they bring you, you do your due diligence to share properly and help other people get started so that they make their money back. We don't promise $500 a month. We don't promise. We don't make promises like that. We pledge our support. And so I thought that was so great to hear from the corporate level. Do not tell someone how to place their order. But you tell them, I pledge my support no matter how you decide to go about this. There are ways to do it. You can share stories. My friend Jason and Angel, if they're use 2 credit cards and a pay stub or whatever their story is. You can share those stories, but you are not going to say, well, do you have a credit card? Well, maybe you should do that. Don't tell someone how to spend their money, but pledge your support to them to help them. And I loved hearing Rick Floyd say that.
Yeah. And just present options. So say you need to do this way. Present, Jason and Angela use 2 cards and a paycheck. We use TJ's bonus. Some people
Tax
have been
return.
saving, and so they use it as an investment. Give options, essentially.
And they'll get their wheels turned because sometimes people are only thinking, I know what's in my checking account and it's not there.
Right.
You know, you're helping them think outside the box, but you're not telling them which box to choose.
Exactly. You're giving them boxes, not telling them which box to choose. That's good.
And I feel like if people haven't been to a big event, it's really hard to understand the importance of it. I would imagine most of us sitting in this room and maybe on the training have been, but Champions Day was the turning point for me. And I was literally that morning not sure I was going to go. And my husband said, if you think you're really going to do this, you might as well go see what it's about. I drove by myself. I wore blue jeans. Hello, you should have told me, people, that you're supposed to dress up. And so I wore blue jeans, and I sat there and I thought, these are normal people who have had success with this company. You know, I already knew the products work. And so, and we're normal people. You and your sister, I'm pretty sure, was up there. And Allison, did you get there? Yeah. And so, and I knew some of you a little bit, but just hearing your stories were relatable, staying home with your children and helping your husband not have to work as much. And all of that was so relatable. And to just see all the other people in that room who were there for the same reasons. And then if you look at the people that are on your team, the ones who have probably made the most progress have been to some big event at some point. It's very important so they can have that buy-in. It's way more than third-party credibility. It's 500-party credibility.
I like
You know.
that. Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
Well, and yes, the ones who are making the most income are the ones
They
who
have been.
gotten to the most events.
Yeah.
You know, relatively to how long they've been in. You know, if you're hit or miss on trainings, if you're hit or miss on big events, then your business is going to reflect that. It's going to be hit or miss. If you are consistent in plugging into trainings, if you're consistent in getting into big events, then your business is going to be consistent. And there's going to be two reasons for that. Number one, because more than likely you are getting other people there with you, so you are feeding your business. But number two, you're feeding yourself. When we share with people, especially if we get an adverse reaction, that's going to take away some of our steam. And so if you're not refilling your cup, so to speak, with you know, getting to events, listening to trainings, then eventually that well's going to run dry, and it's going to be really hard for you to share out of an empty well. Make sense?
That's good.
That's
I
why
think
it's
too,
important.
it's essential that you promote an event at a time.
Yeah.
Like Diane McDaniel's is Monday. So leading up to this, if you've had other mixers and things like that, if you were sharing your mixer and Diane, you're always to a single thing. I happen to know of 2 more biz ops in the area coming up within the next month. Am I going to tell people? Are we going to promote that? No. We want to, after Diane, we'll talk about the next one. After the next one, we'll talk about the next one. If I'm sitting here giving people not even just distributors.
It's okay.
My
Go get another
prospect,
one.
it's okay, go get another one. Or, you know, then where's the urgency? Where's the urgency in that?
Yeah, you don't make it okay.
Mhm.
You don't neutralize.
And this doesn't mean anyone in here. It's Diane McDaniel. Like,
Yeah.
She's not, like, I don't think she's ever been in Franklin in the 3.5 years I've been in. Ever. Not that I can recall. Ever.
I don't think in the 4.5 years that we've been in that she's ever been in Franklin.
She's been in Cleveland. She's been in Knoxville. She has not been in, she's been in Memphis. She has not been in Middle Tennessee.
Around.
That's true. And, sorry, I had to go upstairs for a second. Did you talk about how you don't promote it as Triple Diamond? Diane McDaniel is coming Monday night.
I didn't, but you just did.
Yeah, you don't. You don't. George, go ahead.
The other night, last night, driving over, I was working on who was I going to invite, and I called a business colleague here. And I positioned it not as Triple Diamond. He doesn't know Danny McDaniel. I just said, I really know you're a fan of success. And I want you to come Monday night, and you're going to see some major success. If you want to be around people that know how to get it done, come join me on Monday night. And so positioning the success was the angle there. Not he knows about Advocare. I sat with him, shared with him. He said no. Come back to him again, saying on the success side.
Well, you made it relatable to him.
Try to, yeah.
That it relates to him in that way.
For
I like
you,
you want to be inspired. You know?
and for you as a distributor, if you can get, if you have a prospect or even another distributor who, business builder or not, whatever they are, and they get to one of these big events, you can walk away with whatever decision, wherever they have decided they want to be, and with knowing they've seen big. and this is truly what they're choosing. You can't think to yourself, well, have I sold it short? Well,
Yeah.
have I not
Is
given
there
them
anything
enough?
else
I could have done.
Is there anything
Yeah.
else I could have done? Diane McDaniel, if they walk out of that room and they're like, I'm really happy at 25%.
They probably are.
Awesome. They really are. They have
That's
seen,
exactly right.
they have seen. I have people who have been to success, there's people who have been successful, love it, love the company, still purchase product, but when they don't want to go to a direct deal, I'm like, you've seen it and you know, and that's okay. I'm going to love you where you're at and I'm going to move forward.
Yeah.
I'm going to love you where you're at and I'm going to move forward.
It kind of helps
Someone-
you
yeah.
mark where you're at, and
Mhm.
okay, this is what I need to work on, or this is what I need to leave alone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. What's
All
our-
right, let's talk group challenge
Mhm.
for just a minute. Because while we're, discussing, April, how you're getting all these people, engaged and invited for Monday night, let's talk about how to utilize a group challenge.
Okay, I'll start with that. The biggest thing is that we all know accountability is better in groups and that there's more excitement and momentum. And so some ways that we have taken a group challenge, April will say for her, it's better when she's doing it herself. So there's a reason to say, I'm starting it, it's personal, I'm going to be doing a cleanse.
100% invested.
Yeah, you're 100% there. You're leading your people by example. So that's really a good time, kind of the beginning of a month. This time of year, beginning of October, beginning of November, beginning of December, beginning of January, and even February. I mean, every month is fine, but you'll have waves of people that just are looking for a reason to start. And so if you're able to have a reason to call and say, I know maybe we've talked about this in the past, and I'm starting a challenge. It's a reason to call. A group challenge is a reason to call.
It's a reason to call anyone that 3 months or more.
Do
a
retail
challenge.
customers, it's a reason to print off your retail customers and call past retail customers. I've used it as a reason to call people who were formerly distributors over the last 4 years, who maybe have fallen off, who didn't, I've used it as a reason to reach back and try to re-engage folks who I know loved and had success on the product, but for whatever reason, life has happened and they just never, they didn't continue or whatever. It's just a reason to check back in and follow up. And I think that's a theme that we always say is don't, unless there's a reason to give up on someone, you can, it never hurts to check back in. And I think people appreciate that if you're checking back in on the what's in it for them, side of things. But that is a reason to call. And so for nothing else than to just say, we have a group, we're putting together a group, would you like to be part of that? And continue to roll people through that process. So if someone starts at the beginning of October, or maybe even I know in our area, fall break is the first week of October, so if they start the Monday they return from fall break, they'll be done by Halloween.
That was my next
the
point.
drop of
Let's talk
pumpkin,
about-
yeah.
Let's
So
talk about strategy.
yeah, that is a good time for people. If they start right after Halloween, they'll be done before Thanksgiving, right before they see their friends. So that's another reason to say the time is now. You're about to go into holiday season, and we all have probably heard it said, the average person puts on 10 pounds over the holiday season. So, you're prepping yourself. That's not a hard and fast fact, but that is an average. We all know we eat more, consume more, move less during the holidays. So,
And even if someone, I think sometimes people are looking for that right time. Like, my kid's having a bake sale on the second Tuesday of, I just don't want to do it then. I'll be eating the cookie. People are looking for that way out. Even in the month of December, I think all of us know if we didn't have M&S, December would be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we would be living off of Starbucks, extra money out of my pocket that's not going towards Christmas, all those things. Even getting someone on M&S or saying, well, let's get your cleanse under your belt the first 10 days. I mean, what are you doing the first 10 days for Christmas? Very few things.
Let's survive and thrive
Yes.
this holiday season
Yeah.
instead of adding on those extra 10
Right.
pounds.
But the great news is that
Okay.
people that decided to add on the extra 10 pounds will jump in January and February. And it helps you spread out those orders.
If you have gotten them to love M&S and Spark,
right.
they'll say, what can the rest of this this stuff do for me, because I'm January 1, I'm ready to kick it into high gear. If you've laid that foundation between now and the end of the year, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you throw in the towel and don't do anything between now and December 31st, you will not have a booming January. You will not.
Well, here's what I feel like, what has happened, and I think it's kind of just grown into it. I don't really knew that I had a strategy, but a group challenge was what worked for me, and I wanted to help people have success, so I wanted to give them some accountability. So I started in March, and I've done a cleanse every 3 months, and so my distributors are following suit. I invite them to do it with me, so they're inviting the people that are doing it with them. We're doing it. This just happened. I just realized this, but so we'll finish in time to be able to start a whole other challenge in January. So all of these people can maintain and do their best through December, and then I'm gonna go ahead and prep them. We will do our next challenge all together starting the beginning of the year.
I want to say something real quick. April doesn't have to wait on January to get a group together.
Yeah.
She might not be cleansing with them,
But,
taking the
every
cleansed
month.
products, but she can still eat the food with, if she wants to be like solidarity, she can still eat the food with them even though she's not taking herbal cleanse tablets at night.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually,
I've
she
done
can
one
still
every
drink a
month.
fire drink with them if she really wanted to. But you don't have to only do group challenges when you're doing a challenge. You can still get groups going, and you can still coach them and challenge, and hold them accountable and all that, even if you're not. Yes, people like joining in with you, but even if they're not joining in with you, they love. It's mob mentality.
I've led one every month since March, and so, but I haven't obviously done it. But it is much more. I mean, I don't know. I'm in it 100. So when I'm doing it, and my distributors started with me, and so they have tried to get on the same track. It just has happened that way.
Strategy for your challenges. Number one, you need to get, if you have an absolute start date, your absolute order date needs to be a week beforehand, so that way no matter what part of the country they're in, they will have it in their hands and be able to look at it beforehand.
Why do we need dates?
Huh?
Why do you need a date?
You need a date because or else it's just loosey-goosey, like, sometime this fall. Like, at some point in time.
It moves you to action.
Yes.
It does.
You need to put that date in front of them and tell them what that date means.
And we're going to talk about this in a minute, planning your pay period. But you need to choose dates carefully as well. Okay? You might want to choose a start date that means an order date is going to fall within the close of a pay period.
So right now, we have a Fit for Fall flyer, we have a Back to School flyer, we have these flyers that have been approved by legal. Okay? What do we need to do with them?
First of all, I want to say a quick note about this. Please use the flyers approved by legal. A great way to know it's not approved by legal, first of all, if it has any Advocare logo that is not navy blue, white, or black, if it's red, white, blue, or hot pink, or purple, that's one great way to know whether it's a group challenge flyer, whether it's a quote with an Advocare logo on it, whether it's a canister of Spark with a saying about Spark. It needs to be approved by legal. Second way to know, if there's not a name, the words Advocare Independent Distributor, and a contact information, it was not approved by legal.
Correct.
And also, if it didn't come straight from the Advocare website. Do not trust that this platinum you're following on the other side of the country posted it and it's correct. Everyone's trying to, this is a newer thing, and so I get that you're like, but they're so-and-so, but they make this much a month, but this, that, and the other. Just because the cool kid went behind the school to do something doesn't mean you need to go too. I just encourage you, learn the rules and stick to them. Right now, it's not a big deal. It might not seem like a big deal, but I know I have heard stories of people getting their account suspended and things of that nature because at the end of the day, whether you saw somebody else do it or not, it's not within compliance. So please, it is great that these things are being put together. Whitney Gladden put together a great training on how to take those, load it into a program called PicMonkey, and change it. It's a 5-minute training, and I really think after you've done it a time or two, it will take you 5 minutes to do it yourself. PicMonkey is an online service. You can't do it on your phone. You can't do it on your iPad. You have to be on a laptop. But you go to PicMonkey.com. Once you have saved the flyer or the picture, whatever it is, you upload it, and you are just replacing the contact information because As much as I love Crystal Thurber, I don't want to post her flyer with her name on my page and then have people contacting her and ordering their challenges from her instead of from me.
Casey posted that training last week. It's
Uh-huh.
on the Spark page.
Yeah, it's in the comments section.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably need to bump it to the feed, but
Which one are you talking about?
The
Pig Monkey.
The Pig Monkey,
training.
yes, the Pig Monkey training.
It's like
Yes.
on last week's feed.
Yes. And so,
Actually, I put it on the same page that the flyers are.
yes.
Right, it's
So
in
if
the
you find the
comments.
flyers, it's in the comment section. So anyways, that with the flyers. What else were you going to say about the flyers?
That they are not to be shared on people's wall,
Correct.
just as that's how you're inviting them. It will do nothing. It will junk up your news feed. If you share it a bazillion times, it becomes white noise. So
And you
I
kind
use
of become
the,
annoying.
I use the flyer after I've talked to someone.
Yeah.
Then I will text it to them following our conversation.
Mhm.
That's one way I like to use it.
You can use it to open the conversation personally that way.
If I use it on my personal wall, I'll post it one time
Right.
and I'll probably delete it in a couple of days. I'll see what likes and comments I get. I'll contact those people and then I will take it down. Simply
Yeah.
because I don't want someone that's snooping on my page to go and see, first of all, oh, she does a group challenge every month. I'll just wait till next month rolls around. We don't want to do that. But also you don't want to, like we were talking about earlier, you want to be 1 in every 10. And sometimes when we are doing group challenges, our ratios kind of get off. And if someone goes and looks at you, you want them to see your life and not the Advocare logo.
Yeah. So the point is, those flyers are to open up a line of communication. They are to give you a reason to call, and they are to give you a reason to show the logic of why that person needs to start now.
Mhm.
Well, okay, we're doing this group challenge, you need to start now because if you start by such and such date, you'll be done by Halloween.
Mhm.
Or it's a great time for you to start because all of us are going to be in this together. What did you say, April? 100% invested. You're
Yeah.
going to be with other people, and I'm 100% invested in your success. The point of the flyer is not to blast your friends. It's to give you a reason to call.
And those people who've inquired before but kind of just backed off after the information was provided, it reminds them, oh yeah, I wanted to do that. Oh,
Yeah.
here's another opportunity. you
Yeah.
know.
And I feel like you would answer this better than me, so I'm going to
Okay.
ask you a question.
Okay.
So, like we just said, this is a great time of year for an October, November, December, January, February challenge. So, realistically, you could have 5 back-to-back months of challenges, but we're talking about following up with people. So, are we going to follow up with the same people all 5 months?
No.
That's all that I'm You don't, like, you're not hounding them. When it's been 4 months, well, now it's been 5 months, well, now it's been 6 months, well, now it's been 7 months, they said no.
Mhm.
Maybe if you ask them in October, you ask them again in January. If you ask them in November, January's an open door for everybody. November, January, February. If you ask them in December, February, maybe March. You kind of want to give that window. If they've said no, you don't want to say, I mean, you can leave it with, well, let me know if you change your mind.
Mhm.
And then when you follow up again, say, hey, I know a couple months ago wasn't a good time. We're just doing one again. I wanted to let you know in case you wanted to jump on board. You don't have to re-explain. Remember how great the cleanse was?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just leave it simple.
We got a question about one-to-ones, and I'm going to let you kind of expand on that, and then we're going to move into mathematical pay period.
Okay.
So Steve asked, so what do you do when your one-to-one that should be short has them asking more and more questions?
You try to change
Steve.
You really try to change the subject. You want to capture that curiosity as best you can and redirect it.
Well, it's like we talked about earlier, if you're in their space, you have to change the subject. One of the most effective techniques you can ever use is to offer something and then to take it away. You know, it's we do that in a lot of aspects of our life, and all the examples I think of are going to sound condescending, so I'm not going to use them. But you know, you always want the one that got away. And Advocare is sort of the same
Your
thing.
car's
You're gonna
running.
share your story, huh?
But Charlie says your car's running.
Your car's running. That's right. Your car's running. I gotta go. The car's running. And you hear people going, but wait. I want to know more about this. Instead of giving them so much that they do get that glazed over look in their
And
eyes.
you can offer, if you're at that one-to-one and you're offering them an Impact magazine And go ahead and say, let me go ahead and message TJ and see what time we can talk. Let me go ahead. So you're establishing when you're going to satisfy that curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Set an appointment.
Yes.
And you did it when I read Steve's question.
Mhm.
You said great, and you redirected.
Mhm.
You know, that is a great question. Let me see when TJ's available, because he's the person that you want to hear this from.
Not, I don't know, not, I mean, we can't say I'm new, like, you know. That's a great question.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
just really dense, and in 4 years I haven't learned the answer to that question.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because the thing is that when you do connect to your leader, they're going to edify you and turn them back. So, you know, if you said, oh, I just don't know, let me ask, and then we get on the phone and say, Allison is amazing in this. She knows, you know, how to get you the results that you're looking for, and she's going to take great care of you.
Mhm.
You know, that's a conflicting message. So it's not about that. You want to say, that is a great question, and I want you to hear about it from the person who helped me.
Mhm.
You know, directly address that question.
I mean, and you can take that time to set up an appointment
Yes.
right then. It sounds like you've got a lot more questions, you know, and I want you to hear all the answers. When do you have time? Let's go ahead and set an appointment, because obviously TJ can't magically appear in this room right now. So,
Right.
you know, I mean, that might be a good opportunity if you're, like we were talking about, if you're at dinner or lunch with somebody and they just continue on, like you can stop the conversation by, let's set an appointment, and then you put that appointment down, and so then you can move on to change the subject. So,
That's right.
yeah.
Then you can move on to whatever else you were, you know, planning to do during that time.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about, we have our list. We now know how to get someone on a three-way call, because you're going to share with your heart and with intention. We know what a one-to-one is, that it should be brief. We know what a two-on-one is. We know how we should invite to this next impending event. And that's key, you guys. We get paid to get people to the next impending event, not the event that's 2 weeks away or 1 month away or 6 weeks away or whatever. So now, how do we implement this to treat our business like a business and get results?
All right, just for anyone in TV land, this is just a calendar. This is just September through January. So it's just a calendar. You're not missing like vital information. The red stuff says close. That's the close of the pay period. The blue stuff says trading. So that's nothing. You're not missing anything. Okay. So I am strategic. Like I need to look at my calendar. I need to know what's going on. Like I was talking about earlier with the challenges. I want it to make sense when we start. When orders need to come in. When I start advertising, I don't want to advertise for a month. I want to advertise for 7 to 10 days. Okay? So I want to just ask y'all in the room, and then if people want to text Casey, let's just talk about wide open. What are things that we do in our Advocare business? Like general in our Advocare business, some of them are daily, some of them are monthly. You don't have to specify. But what is something that you have to do as part of your business? I'm going to throw one out there just to get us started, a one-on-one. One-on-ones are something we do in our business. What's something else we do in our business?
Sample product.
Sample product. What else?
Be a product of the product.
Okay. Take product. What else? Mixers.
Retail product.
What about help people earn rookie bonuses?
Yes.
What about get people to 500?
About show up to go up.
Ooh, nice.
It's very
So-
important, people.
I'm going to just put events, training.
Success School, Avo Nation.
DMO. That's what this is.
But I need specifics.
Yeah.
You always let your distributor team know what their goal is, you know, what they need to do to get to the next level
Okay.
of this pay period.
Discuss goals.
Preferably as early as possible, and then you remind them.
Thank you.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
That was a game changer for me.
Do we have to talk to people on there?
That's pretty
Sample
basic.
product, share a story. Let's do share a story. What about advisor prequal? Get people to advisor.
Follow up.
What about check-in with old retail customers? My list real quick. You know what I mean? Okay, we could look at this and we could shut down. We could look at this and think I need to do all these things every day and shut down. Trying to think if there's anything else on here that I had. Ooh, renewals. That's another
Oh,
one.
and advisor recall.
Mm-hmm. And if some of these things sound foreign to you, we're going to try our best to touch on them.
And they may not apply to you right
You may
now,
not
so
be
don't
there
worry
yet.
about
Yeah,
them.
that's
Yeah.
true.
You know, I mean, some of, you know, some
For
of these
new
things
people, yeah.
don't apply to every new distributor.
All right. So when you look at a pay period, okay, you're looking at the close. You need to think through like the 2-minute drill, those last 4 to 5 days of the pay period, and things of that nature. But some of these things are daily activities. They should be automatic. Every day you're doing this at some point in time. Some of these things are going to be periodic throughout your pay period. Some of these you might do like every other pay period. Okay? What I want you to do, and no two of us are going to have the exact same way that we do this. But what I have done personally is I've sat down and I've listed out, you know, these things, and I kind of just broke it up. This is my cleaning schedule as well. But I just wrote like a pay period: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And I took these things that are not daily activities. Okay? Mixers. What is your goal? How many mixers are you trying to have every pay period? It should be at least one. If you're in the middle of something like a surge, it might be 5 or 6. Because it's not just for yourself. How many mixers are you doing for yourself? How many mixers are you trying to do for your team? Like, I'm going to come to your house and do one for you. Sometimes someone has a better turnout when you go to their house and they're inviting their friends to their house rather than them inviting their friends to your house. Okay? Some of these things you're going to do, like rookie bonus. Are you going to call people up for rookie bonus every day of the pay period? What do you think might be an appropriate amount of time to call them? I would say once at the beginning of the pay period, their very first one. You're going to check in at least once during the first and second, and during the third one, you probably need to check with them 2, maybe 3 times. Would you agree, disagree?
I think if you're checking on them well early on, then they're going to have momentum, and you're not going to have to check on them as often.
Another thing, okay, if I have someone that is up for, let's do this. If Jenna and Ian Allen have someone up for a rookie bonus, they have someone up for one right now, okay? Do Jenna and Ian need to call them, and Kate, and me, and Kelly, and Casey? No. You also you need to know like who is doing it, okay?
And don't assume that
And don't
someone else
assume.
is doing it.
It's a conversation. That's another thing. Are you talking to the people on your team? Upline, downline. Are you talking to them to make sure that as you're communicating with people that y'all are not squashing each other? Okay? And these are things I got overwhelmed. I'll be honest. I started thinking all these things and I got really overwhelmed. And I said, I've got to have a plan. So literally this is what I did. Okay, I was like, okay, sample product. That should be daily. This doesn't really show up, which is a different color. Sampling product. That should be daily.
I hope you guys are writing this down.
Taking product, that should be daily. Retailing product. Casey and I had a really great conversation this week. Casey, from the very beginning of her business, she had a goal to every day see her PGV go up. Every single day, she wanted to see it go up. She didn't want to stay stagnant from Thursday to Friday. Even if it was a cancer spark, she wanted to see it go up.
We still do that.
And so, and they still do that, and that's, I don't think it's any coincidence that they hit 3K so consistently. You've got to daily be trying to retail, so that's something you're doing daily. Successful is not daily. Sharing your story, I hope you're doing that daily. Following up, you should be doing that daily. Not the same people, but you should have somebody you're following up with, whether it's from an appointment or because they're on product. Those are all things you're going to be doing daily. So those aren't things that are like on my list because I should be doing those things every single day. Then you transition to things that you should be doing once a week or once a pay period. I mean, you probably want goals for these, like one-on-ones. How often in a pay period? And it's going to be different for every person. It's going to be different depending on how quickly you're trying to build. If you're going to try to build quickly, you should be having I would say between 10 and 20 one-on-ones per pay period, at least, if you're really trying to build. That's something that you're going to have to schedule out. Maybe, set yourself goals for that one. Mixers, like we said earlier, that should be going on every pay period. And you should set out a pay period or 2 at a time and say, okay, I'm going to do mixers. If you have to pull out, what do I have going on? What are some non-negotiables? I can't miss this for my family. I can't miss this. I can't do a Sunday morning one because I'm going to be at church. There's some non-negotiable times. But when you have those non-negotiable times, pick out when you're going to be doing your mixers, whether they're living room or tabletop. Pick them out. Even if you aren't 100%, whether it's going to be at your house or at somebody else's, get the dates on the calendar, because then you can say to someone on your team, hey, I am open on Thursday the 25th from 7 to 8 o'clock. Who would like me to come to their house and do a mixer? I saw Rebecca and Ryan Hinton do that a few weeks ago. They said, mixer, Thursday, 7 o'clock, location to be determined. Who wants to set in their living room?
Yeah.
You need to be having several of those a pay period. Rookie bonus, we just talked about that. You need to set up at least one day a pay period when you're calling people that are in qualification for their rookie bonus towards the beginning to check on them. The first pay period, you're making sure they understand what it means. What do they have to have? For me, this is something that's at the beginning of the pay period, and then if they're in there, and then if I haven't been able to get a hold of them, the first time you might want to not only leave a message, but at a certain point in time, if you cannot physically get them on the phone, you've got to shoot them a message and say, I just want to make sure you understand this. You never want someone to miss it because they didn't understand. You want to make sure that's part of your job with them. Getting people to 500. This is something that should happen every time really a downline order goes in. How close are they to 500? A really great place to find that out, and are we going to get to talk about advisor pre-qual?
Hopefully.
Okay. That's on your advisor pre-qual report. You do not have to have an advisor to have an advisor pre-qual report. All you have to have is a distributor who placed an order. And there is someone on your advisor pre-qual. It stands for pre-qualification. So it's people that are not yet advisors that are in the process of qualifying for it. I know that was some confusion. I had somebody that was like, well, I don't have any advisors that are working. No, this is actually not advisors.
It's just keeping them in qualification.
It's keeping them in qualification. It's letting them know how close they are. Advisor pre-qual. Thank you so much for holding this, Allison. I feel like you should have taken Catalyst before me.
I did.
Good. Big events. This might not be every single pay period. There might not be a big event in your area, but as soon as you hear about one, you best get that on your calendar and make sure there's a way to get there. So those might be, it's not necessarily every pay period. I'm going to use green for that. It might be every other. There might be 2 in the same pay period. It's going to vary. Trainings, I know the ones at the Overstreets don't happen every pay period. They're monthly. But those need to be on your calendar. Success School, it's once a year, and then Advonation once a year. Next one, goals. Your personal goals, your team's goals. Are you asking them what their goals are? They're not going to call and tell you most of the time. They're not going to call and say, my goal is to, it might be a small goal. My goal is to sell 4 24-day challenges this pay period. It might be my goal is to get a rookie bonus this pay period. It can be, and then an angel came from heaven and gave us a stand.
You have to know what your goals are first to be able to elicit those from your team.
On my new little plan that I made, I put a date when if I haven't heard from people about their goals, starting this pay period, that I'm going to check in with them and say, hey, you said you want to build a business. What are your goals this pay period? You said you need to pay for vacation. They've given me a reason.
Christmas is coming up.
Christmas?
Cash for Christmas is the message right now to be sharing with the business.
So, yeah, every pay period, you need to set aside at least one day where you are checking in towards the front half within the first week. When you're checking in with people on your downline that have told, if they haven't given you a reason why they're doing AdvoCare, then that needs to be the phone conversation. If they're new, why are you doing this? Why do you care about selling their 24-day challenge and making $70? Why do you care about getting to advisor? Okay, there's a reason. You need to know that. And then you need to know what their goals are every single, and they need to know what their goals are. Sometimes if you don't ask, they don't think about it themselves. So you're going to help stir that in people. Next discount level, that's happening every pay period. You need to, Casey, tell me how you do this. How do you keep up with people that are close to the next discount level?
How do you calculate it, or how do I keep up?
How do you keep up with it?
How do you keep up with it? I use my reports. I use my complete downline report, hierarchy, and I go through and I look for people who are at 20%, move them, back to pay period 2. This is their last pay period for them to move from 20 to 25, from 25 to 30. And I let them know early on in the pay period what has to be done. I try very hard not to call them on Tuesday of the close and say, you only have to have $350 to move to 25%. No.
Okay. The math for that is a separate conversation.
It's a whole other training.
Here's a great thing. If you see, the mobile app is great with this, because I can get in my hierarchy and I can click back pay periods and it keeps me on that same page of the hierarchy, so I can see the same person.
Keeps you the same person, yeah.
Okay. So I can look at that person, and even if I'm not 100% sure on the calculation, if I see that they're sitting at 20% and they've had volume within the past 3 pay periods, I can call them and say, will you please log into your microsite, look on the volumes and earnings page. How much money does it say you have to get to the next discount level? If you're an advisor, you might not realize this because yours just says you are at 40%. Everybody else, if they're at 20, 25, or 30, it says how much they have to go. So if you're unsure, even if you are 100% positive, teach them that, because now they're not waiting on you to call and figure it out for them.
Well, I never knew that because I can't find an advisor, so that is handy.
Yeah. So that way, not only, even if you're pretty sure what the number is, say, will you log in and check for me? And now you've just taught them how to keep up with it themselves.
And you need to say, you have a credit towards the next discount level. That's how you handle that conversation. You have a credit that is going to expire towards the next discount level, and I would hate for you to lose that.
That's a great way to say it.
Can I just speak on this for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a big deal. It really has helped me consistently get to 3,000 PGV by number one thing is do not make any assumptions about the people that have signed up for the wholesale discount.
Mm-hmm.
You think, oh, they're not going to want to work to get to the highest. Big mistake. I mean, big. And so when people found out they could have moved up and they had this credit and it fell off, that's when it started really affecting. They're like, what? I can't believe that,
That's the reason that we hit 3K every single pay period early on and still do 97% of the time.
Yeah, and then I've also most recently, first of all, was not making any assumptions and making sure everyone knew, hey, did you know?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know? The credit.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching to 40%. From the beginning now, I say, we're going to, you can get in this wholesale level. Because I'll forget because I get all excited about everything I want to say.
Okay.
When you were talking, I thought about it, I want to interrupt you. But I tell them from the beginning, I'm gonna coach you to get to your 40% discount level. And so there's no surprise. I'm not annoying them. They know it's coming. I'm gonna touch base with them. I'm gonna give them an update. I'm gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
and they know that I'm gonna help them get to their highest discount level.
Same thing with getting people to advisor. That falls into the same category as discount level and that advisor premium.
And I think advisor sometimes can be overwhelming to them. So I'm saying, I'm gonna coach, I'm gonna help you everything. I'm gonna do everything I can to help you get to your 40% discount level.
Those last 3 are going to be for people who've been in the business a little while longer.
Yes,
All retail customers, renewals, and advisor requalification.
And I'm going to tell you the way that I laid this out for myself, this is the way it looks for me. It might look different for you. So many of these, it's touch base early in the pay period to explain it. Then later in the pay period, it's just, do you need any help getting there? Because you've told them. Who can we talk to? Who can we talk to?
Yeah.
My first few days of the pay period are stacked. That open, stacked. But then at time I also need to be frontline. Your open should be a busier time in your pay period.
It should be the busiest time in your pay period because if you have worked the open the first 4 days of your pay period, then you will have a busy close.
Like literally
a busy 2-minute drill.
My Monday, Tuesday of the close, literally that's the only task that's written there is close. Like I haven't put call back to people that are in their second pay period of rookie bonus qualification. That was done early. So the only thing I'm doing on that Monday, Tuesday is someone that for some reason I'm helping those people get what we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, I'll normally follow up on that Friday before the pay period closed, after I've already told them at the beginning,
Mhm.
reminded them in the middle, and then Friday, hey, you've got this weekend, how can I help you? 'Cause
One of the
they-
other things we don't have up there is weekly calls.
Yes.
Weekly calls.
Well, and you can include that. We'll include that with training.
And
Team
then part-
calls.
and then
Those
part-
team calls are
and part of my task is, as I'm going, right now, seem to be going wide, is being sure each one of those people know how important those Wednesday night calls are.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because, and I tell them my own story.
Mhm.
When I got discouraged, I made sure I was on those calls, and by the end of the call, I was ready to go again.
Really
And that's
good.
great to weave in when you're calling someone to get them from 20 to 25. When you're, that doesn't necessarily have to be a separate call. You can weave it into those other conversations, but that's really, really good. So I don't put this out there to overwhelm y'all, but to just say, get a plan in place. Think about it. If you were just going about this willy-nilly, you're going to miss something. It's going to be Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, they only need $25.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's boil this down just a little bit.
Mhm.
And get back on camera so I'm not a voice
Here, you want to switch?
yelling out there. No, because that's your chart.
Okay.
So the first of your pay period, what are you doing? What are the action steps that you're doing the first 4 days of your pay period?
First of all, either Tuesday night of the close or Wednesday of the new pay period, I am personally going through looking at those reports. That's probably going to be my most report-heavy day. Looking at who do I need to talk to this pay period. Because if I don't know who to talk to, then none of this matters. So I'm looking at who is at 20 and has placed an order within the past 3 pay periods to move to 25. Who is in their second or third period of qualification for advisor. They've gotten 500 the past 2. Who needs a rookie bonus? That is what is going on those first few days, is I'm getting a plan in place, and so that I can actually fill that in. I can go ahead, I work better off a list. I can go ahead and say, okay, I have a plan. On Thursday I'm calling these people. On Friday I'm calling these people. On Saturday I'm calling these people.
And then once a week, you're going to be on a team call on
Mhm.
Wednesday night.
Mhm.
Okay? And then every day of the pay period, what are we doing?
Every day we're doing these things. We're sampling product. We're taking product. We're retailing product. We're sharing our story. We're following up. That's going to be every single day. That should be just what your emotion. It's even like there's that great DMO checklist that's out there. But I think what people don't realize is if you're not doing all of it, then you're missing a piece of it. Like you really are missing a piece of it. And so plan it out for yourself. Look at 2 weeks time and say, and here's, if you're not sure where to put things, say, well, what's most important to happen at the beginning? Like if it was me, what would I want to know so that I had a full 2 or 3 weeks to accomplish it?
Your volume and earnings report, when you log into your website and you click on reports, volume and earnings that we were talking about, I check that every day, and the reason that I check it every day, I check it more than once a day, but you should check it every day. The reason you should check it every day is because that tells you, am I sharing my story? Am I sampling product? Am I getting people to pending events? If your volume and earnings is not going up, no, you're not doing that. You're not working your business if that report is not moving up, okay? And so that's my cue. Oh my gosh, we have sat at $2,000 in volume from yesterday to today. I haven't even moved a canister of Spark. Who can I talk to? Who do I need to get Spark in their body because they need a box of Spark, canister, Spark, whatever, I can help them. So volume and earnings. If you don't have anyone on your advisor pre-qualification report, which is another report in the report section, then once again, you haven't gotten someone moved to a decision. You might be sampling product. You are certainly taking the product. You might be doing, those action steps of sharing your story and getting impact magazines out there. But if you're not moving people to a decision, if you're not asking the question, are you ready to get started? Smiling, nodding your head, but even if you're on the phone, smiling, nodding your head, are you ready to get started? Let's get you started, then you're not going to have anybody on the pre-qual report. Frog in my throat. What else?
And the reason I didn't draw the pay period and say, here's exactly what you should do when, is because, like I said, it's going to be a little bit different for you. Maybe your Friday is packed, and so you're carving out 3 hours on Thursday and 2 hours on Saturday. Depend on your schedule, but I'm going to say in the open is when you're making those initial phone calls. So really and truly from Sunday of the first Sunday to really that Wednesday, that's when you're kind of front line doing a whole lot of, that's when your volume should really be going up, so then you can check in with everybody else during the close to say, hey, what we talked about at the beginning, and hopefully they're putting you to work there in the middle. So the first half is about you notifying them, the first 4 days, and those last 4 or 5 days is about you seeing what else they need to make that happen. And then that in between is going to kind of give you room to work where you're needed.
You will not have a 2-minute drill to work. The 2-minute drill is the Thursday before the pay period close. You won't have anything to do those last 4 days of the 5 days.
Aside from calling you $500 orders or new close to anything.
Unless you have worked that business like a business. Now, how do you work your business like a business? We move people through a prospect, through prospect process, from a retail customer to that advisor level. So TJ's going to wrap up. We have about 4 minutes left, and he's going to talk about what that process is. So I'm going to move that away.
Well, guys, I know that, they did an excellent job this morning, and I know that you guys sometimes feel like you're drinking from a fire hose when you get to train. But it's important that you glean as much as you can. But what I wanted to kind of touch on really quick is a process that we, as business builders, sometimes lose. I don't know. We just lose a little bit, and it's the process called PCDA. All right, that's what we do in our business. It's called PCDA. You move people from a prospect to a customer to a distributor to an advisor. That's how the process works. Now, there are going to be prospects that go straight to A. There's going to be prospects that go straight to D, but there's going to be prospects that go straight to C. And I think that sometimes we lose focus of that C. And that is where, on that board, if you remember, retailing comes in. Retailing is a big part of this business, okay? And retailing doesn't mean that you're having to go out and retail a 24-day challenge, okay? It means that you're getting product into the marketplace. Retail to recruit, all right? Retail to recruit. Take a prospect to a customer, typically sometimes a retail customer, and you're working that person, you're retailing product, you're following up with them no different than you would your distributor or your new wholesale customer to get them into the system so that they can get a discount. Because they may not see the advantage of the discount right away. And that's okay, because remember, we're all about helping people find their fit with AdvoCare. And maybe a retail sale of Spark is it. Maybe a retail sale of Rehydrate is it. All right? So what do we do with those retail customers once we get them? First thing we do, we had this instant last pay period, and we worked through it beautifully. There's this thing called the retail sales compliance. We try to make sure that you guys understand what that is as much as possible, but I want you to understand what that is. When you make a retail sale, there is a place on your microsite to keep up with those. AdvoCare requires that we keep up with those as we're building businesses. Does anybody know why that is? Do you think they're trying to keep track of you?
So we show we're not a pyramid scheme.
So that we show that we're not a pyramid scheme.
And that we're not stocking product in our
And
houses.
that we're not, and it's all part of the same thing. Because part of the Direct Sales Association in the past, when these people say, all right, you put all this money in, you can get all this product back, and they just sit it in their garage.
I was saying, let's clarify this. We're not stocking product just to get a paycheck.
Yeah, just to get a
It's
paycheck.
okay. You need to have product
Yeah,
stocked
absolutely.
to move it to retail to recruit.
Right. And when you need to have product in your pantry, in your cupboard, wherever that is, but you're moving that product. And what we're doing is we're staying in good standing with the Direct Sales Association, and we are being who we say we are. We're working within honor, within integrity, with a viable business by saying, yes, we are retailing these products. Now, when you go on your retail sales compliance, there's a couple of things that you also do with that retail sales. Number one, you need to be giving them a receipt, okay? If you don't have any receipts, get online. They're available. They're for a pack. They're like, I don't know, $2, $3, $4 for a pack of receipts, just so you can have a hard copy of what it was. But what that does, it creates something pretty magical here, because there's places in here for information. Number one, you know what that retail customer purchased, all right? You don't have to try to remember. You've got that person's contact information, and you've got a date of when they last purchased. So you know a perfect time of follow-up, okay? Because a retail customer is no different than your distributor, right? Because you really want to move that retail customer in your process, into a distributor, right? And you want to help them get there. So it's very important that you do that. And secondly, after you give them the receipt, after you move the product, go ahead and enter it. There's a place that's just really simple. You just put their name, some contact info for them, and the retail amount. Now, that purchase can be whatever it is retail, all right? Just whatever the retail sales total is at before taxes, whatever, put that total in there, hit submit, okay? When you get 5, it'll tell you that you're ready to submit. Hit the submit button, it goes off into AdvoCare corporate land, and they come back and they will approve those and let those roll. So the reason that that's so important of moving people from PCDA and this retail sales compliance is important. Number one, the retail sales compliance is very important as you're building a business because it is required for you to earn your overrides and your leaderships, okay? Now, if you've forgotten to put it in, you can go back and put them in later, and AdvoCare will go ahead and send you your check. You're not going to miss out on it, but go ahead and get them in. Just make it a habit when you make a sale to get your retail sales in the system. And remember, don't lose sight of how important retail customers are. They are just as important, and they could be your next business builder with AdvoCare. Somebody that's maybe skeptical, like TJ was, says, you know what, man, I trust you, George. You know, I see maybe. Well, let me just get a box of that Spark. Let me just try a box of that Spark. Great. You know what? You just made 40 cents on, or 40% on a box of Spark, and now you've opened up a way to work people through. So don't lose focus of that little piece in the PCDA of the C, the customer. All right, moving people from a prospect to a customer. All right, and then distributor. That's a piece of this too. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly, and I know you guys have just had tons of knowledge and poured into you guys, and I hope it's something that you can take and put into practice very quickly as we are all surging. I mean, this is a great time. This 3-weeker, I just have a feeling that this is going to be the biggest pay period in the life of a lot of your businesses, and I'm excited to see that for you guys. I'm excited to see what is to come with that.
Christy just reminded me the importance of a retail customer. She just gave me a really great example of that. Ellie Dowling is an Emerald leader on Ryan and Rebecca Hinton's team, and for 2 years, Ellie was a retail customer of Rebecca's. Rebecca would go by, she'd drop off her Spark.
In her mailbox.
In her mailbox. But Rebecca continued to pour into Ellie, continued to follow up. Hey, I think it's about time for you to get some more Spark. Hey, it's been 3 months since your last cleanse. She continued to develop that relationship. She did not just give up on her and say, well, she just wants to be a retail customer. That's all she wants. She followed up, and now she's an Emerald leader, like $200,000 a year in income.
You want another example?
Ellie left her job.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't
at Vanderbilt. No, great.
Another example. Our very own Crystal Thurber.
Yeah.
Started out as a
7 years.
retail customer under Jim and Marcy O'Hickey. And now here she, and Marcy would stop by and drop her off Spark in her office. Weekly, monthly, and here she is now, a platinum leader. She's just done phenomenal things. She's been an awesome mentor for us. But it all started out as a retail customer. It was just a not right now.
You never know.
That's what
when
retail
that switch is
customers
gonna
are.
flip.
Remember, retail customers in my mind are just a one step closer, not right now. All right, you get a lot of not right nows or no's, not right now. But a retail customer is just a little, is testing the waters of a not right now. So pour into them just like you would pour into anybody else.
Let's close up with this because it's 11:04, so we're 4 minutes over. The next 3 months are, in my opinion, my humble, knowledgeable opinion, the most important time of the year. Because like I said earlier, I was serious about this. If you want a big January, then you need to work these next 3 months. You need to speak the message of cash for Christmas. You need to speak, yeah, Katie's really
She's
fired up about this. You need to speak the message of not just 24-day challenge, but M&S and Spark, thriving through the holidays rather than just surviving, being proactive. If you will do that, if you will put your head down and work the next 3 months. CJ, tell me what January will look like.
It will reap benefits, but also in preparation for this next 3 months, understand that this could be your pipe filling, okay? For anything to come out the other side of a pipe, there has to have something going into it. It can't be just one thing and it just sit there. It's got to continually be stuffed and filled and filled and filled and filled until it overflows, okay? And that's what the next 3 months might look like for you. Don't get discouraged by that. Don't get discouraged by that because you're doing the right things. The pipe filling stage is no different from us. All right, we had a stage that we were filling the pipe, and what happened? Boom, it comes out the backside. And that's what January can and will look like for you. I absolutely promise you that if you are stuffing the pipeline right now, if you're talking to people, if you're moving people from a prospect to a customer to a distributor, if you're working that process and filling that pipe, it is going results come January, because what are 2 things that people are really looking for in January when they're making those resolutions?
Pay the bills and lose the weight.
Paying the bills. I'm going to have a better year this year than I have last year. I don't want my bank account to look like this year what it did last year. Advocate. Man, I am going to lose weight this year. I am going to get healthy this year. My clothes are going to fit better this time next year than they did last year. Advocate. All right, we've got those solutions, and you've got to position yourself as a problem solver and a solution giver, and that's what you're going to be doing over the next 3 months as we're surging. You're going to be pushing. Some of you guys are going to see some huge results just through the surge. You will, because you've done some legwork on the backside. Some of you are going to do your legwork through the surge, and you're going to see it come first of the year. Your time will come. Your time will come. Just keep pushing and keep pressing. So guys, everybody in the room, thank you so much for coming. Everybody online, thank you for being there. We are so excited about the coming weeks and months because we're not just saying go surge. We're surging. We're with you. We're with you. We're recreating our business too, because we cannot lead if we're not going. So we're here with you. We're here to help you. Anything that we can do. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Get your list together and let's surge like we mean it. I'm just gonna take that hashtag like we mean it, and I'm just gonna put it on everything.
I'm copywriting that.
So no, you're not gonna worry about surge like you mean it. Anyway, guys, thank you all. Have a great rest of your Saturday.
Trademark.
Bye.
George's trademark.
Yes, trademark.